Welcome to the Beat LA podcast. My name is Matt Ferrucci. I'm a writer-director in Los Angeles via San Francisco. And I am joined, as always, by a man who lives by one credo: for relaxing times, make it Suntory time. Mr. Paul Rule.
Can we talk about another beverage? Our sponsor, Day Trip, going to be
It's
upset?
okay. You know, this is going to be the very first, the quickest cut to the clip ever. Nick, cut to the clip.
For relaxing times, make it Suntory time.
Paul, lost in translation, Mr. Japan Man, you're back from the Orient. I don't know if I can still say the Orient anymore, but you're back from the Far East.
Far East.
Japan, Korea. It's good to see your face. They let you back in the country. You're looking good. You're in Yomiuri Giants regalia here.
Giants, but it's different. See, the script's a little different. It's a little more, Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese. How
wabi-sabi, maybe.
How you doing?
It's like living it. I went to a Yomiuri Giants game. It was amazing. Good to see you, Matt, by the way.
Thank you. Well, not only did Paul go to a Yomiuri Giants game, but something incredible happened. I don't know if we want to cut to the clip just yet, but Paul, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were like picked to be a samurai and ended up on the Jumbotron. What happened?
That's exactly what happened, Matt.
Okay.
I was walking into the Yomiuri Giants game in the Tokyo Dome. There were like 55,000 people there. And there were not a lot of gaijins, not as many as you'd think. Gaijin, look it up, means white devil, technically foreigner.
Right.
And this gentleman came up to me and my nephew Henry, who was there, and we were there for my mother's 90th birthday trip.
Yep.
And this guy who spoke no English pulls up on his phone, Google Translate, and asked if we would like to dress up. One of us would like to dress up in a samurai outfit and promote a lemonade. Mm-hmm. I told him I was a very famous pitchman for Day Trip in America.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand what that meant
no idea.
at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, this gentleman whose one job it is, apparently every game they try to find a gaijin to do this.
Yeah.
He didn't speak one word of English. You think that guy would actually speak some English, considering his job was to interact with people who speak English?
More intensity.
More intensity.
Suntory time.
Oishi de Gazzaro. That's what I said, Matt.
Yeah.
And you know how I remember that? Because Gazzari's was Gazzari Dancer Night from 1987, the first time I came to L.A.
Now, was that what they put on the Jumbotron?
That's what I was supposed to say. I had a cue card.
Yep.
And it means very delicious. People can see. I think it's time to cut to the clip.
Cut to the clip.
シスコは同じチーム名だからということで、今日はジャイアンツを応援してくださっているそうです。ポールさん、一気飲みですか、まさか。一気ですね。一気ですね。拍手お願いします。ポールさん、ありがとうございます。感想は。Wish it ain't Gazzaro. Go Giants. ありがとうございます。2回目のゴージャイアンツ。
Now, Paul, that's incredible. You're in the. I mean, what? There's like what 40,000 people.
55,000 people.
55,000 people there,
Yeah.
and you are all over the Jumbotron.
I went in full character. He actually said, this is how, my acting training,
Yeah.
we talked about this, man. I'm a trained actor, Meisner technique. The samurai outfit was very heavy. It was metal.
Yep.
Very heavy. I'm sweating profusely, but I wasn't really channeling the fact that I was supposed to be a samurai.
Yeah.
So he said to me, I said, so the lemonade that came, they were pushing lemonade so you can buy it on like at concessions, and it had a straw in it. And I said, you want me to drink with the straw or without the straw? And he said, a samurai would probably drink it without the straw because that's more bold and daring.
Yeah.
So when I knew that I wasn't going to drink it out of the straw, I found my character, Matt. And I became a samurai.
God bless America. Nick, what did you think of his performance as the samurai?
Shit, I thought it was inspired.
Oscar worthy? Did I hear Oscar worthy?
I think it was like Last Samurai Tom Cruise vibes a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
If you go back, we're not going to play it again. If you want to go back and and replay, you'll see that I did it all in one take.
Yeah.
And I drank it all in one take. I finished the whole thing. I took a pause, a caesur as they called it, a dramatic pause, and I finished that thing, and people started clapping. It was amazing, man. Anyway, I felt good about it. I felt so good about it, Matt, that I bought a hat and a jersey for the Yomiuri Giants. It's by everyone. Giant fan should go to Tokyo Dome.
Got it.
It is like this weird Total Recall, Black Rain, post-apocalyptic feeling where basically like the Japanese had won World War II and the San Francisco Giants now played in the Tokyo Dome in Japan. It was this weird alternate universe. Everyone had giant shit on.
Yeah.
Colors are the same.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing.
That's great. That's great.
I also went to Korea, Matt, and I got you a gift.
I'm from Korea. I love it. This is my favorite thing that happens on the pod.
Because I go places
And Paul brings back
and
something
I bring
for me.
back shit.
Yeah.
Like your rich uncle.
Yep. Oh my God. D stands for
The Doosan Bears. I also went to a KBO game, Matt.
the Doosan Bears.
The Doosan Bears. They are
love
one of
this.
the three teams in Seoul.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the Kwoom Heroes, who Jung-Hoo Lee paid for, or the LG Twins.
The LG Twins.
Yes, and I went to the Bears Twins game in Seoul, and I got you a hat. So we're going to have dueling Asian
this. I
baseball
love this.
hats.
D stands for you know what?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does,
hey,
man.
baby. That's
You're single again. I
My
want you out
left
in the world.
dick.
I want people to. I want that to precede you when you walk into a room.
Nick just said the D stands for I love dick.
No, I said my left dick.
Oh, my left dick.
That- wait a second. That to people that just so they know that is foreshadowing for later in the episode.
Well, can I do some house
Wow,
cleaning?
you look great.
Thanks, man. Can I do some house cleaning?
Yeah.
All right, folks, welcome to the Beat LA podcast. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch the clips on TikTok, Spotify, and what's the other one? Instagram. And when you
I
do
don't know.
that,
Sure.
follow, subscribe. It keeps the lights on. You can see Paul in his Giants regalia. You're definitely going to want to watch the pod because of the guest we have today. And before we do
Man,
that,
we're more than a podcast. ChatGPT says that we are a channel, an influencer or something. What are we? We're something. We have
to
over
look
a
it back
million and a
up.
half views now.
we have 1.5 million views, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're more than a podcast.
Right.
We're something else.
We're a way of life.
We're a way of life.
Yeah.
Speaking of way of life, today's podcast, once again, is brought to you by our sponsor, Daytrip Beverages.
Hold on, I'm going to do what I did at the Tokyo Dome while you talk, Matt.
Oh, here we go. There you go. Look at him. Look at him go. Look at him go. Folks, today's podcast is brought to you by Daytrip Beverages, CBD drinks, and prebiotic sodas. Forget ordinary soda, Paul. Get your fizz on with great flavor, a prebiotic punch, and clean ingredients that actually boost your vibe. Daytrip prebiotic organic sodas. Escape the ordinary.
You're good at that, Matt.
I try. It's hard.
Your whole life you should.
But I believe
you're
I believe
born to
in
be a
this fucking
spokesman.
product. Speaking of escaping the
Spokesperson.
ordinary, folks, we got a great show today. We got a guest on the show today. We're going to talk some Golden State Warriors first, some San Francisco Giants, and then we have an interview with LA-based creative powerhouse, actor, filmmaker, satirical rock star. I don't even know if I want to say satirical. He's just a fucking rock star.
baby.
Jeff Hilliard. He's fucking amazing. Really great hang. Really good person. He's got some great. We're going to talk about Hilaria Baldwin, Meghan Markle for president, some of his music videos, Finger Bang Your Day, Consensual. It's incredible. And then we're going to finish up with some Bill Belichick talk.
If you like talking Hollywood, old school Hollywood, you're going to like this. Like
Yes.
Our version of old school Hollywood.
Yeah. And stick around, folks. Later, we're going to talk about that new Apple show, Your Friends and Neighbors. But Paul, first, we have a new pope. We're going to do a
Yeah,
little,
we do.
real quick, some Pope draft talk. Me and you, we were talking about this in the
Matt,
sort
you
of.
said this is your Super Bowl, and it's more than your Super Bowl. It only happens every decade, 20 years, 25, unless you're like the Pope that got poisoned, the shortest term in office. But other than that, these guys stick around a while.
Well, you watched Conclave a couple weeks ago on the plane, and you were talking about that. Then he dies. Now, with the number one pick in this year's Pope draft, the Vatican selected Robert Prevost, Leo XIV. Now, let me give you some of his stats. 69 years old, from Chicago, Villanova graduate, longtime missionary in Peru, holds Peruvian citizenship, and he worked under Pope Francis, and he ran the 40 in 12.9. I think he's from Chicago, and we've got a Pope who can definitely quote Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the Blues Brothers. How does that make you feel?
Good.
Makes you feel good, right?
Makes me feels great.
Okay.
America's going to become more religious again, I think. More which is nice. We'll stop being so mean to each other.
Exactly. And people were trying to pick like which conclave character fits this guy, right? The guy Prevost, Leo XIV, was a dark horse candidate. Okay. Time magazine called him an outsider insider. All right. Centrist, progressive. Basically, he was the balanced alternative, okay, which is basically like signing Joe Flacco.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But a lot of people, and you thought it was going to be Pietro Pirolin, the Italian.
I did. I thought they were going to go back to the source.
Yeah, he was the front runner, but they said that he was tainted by Vatican bureaucracy.
Right. You had a guy in your pool.
Well, in my pool, I thought it was going to be the guy from the Philippines, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagalog.
I thought that was a good pick, by the way.
His nickname is Cheeto.
Cheeto.
Okay, he's the most famous cardinal in Asia. All right. They didn't go with him. They didn't go with Matteo Zuppi, who people called the insider. The new Pope, though, I'm digging this. I think he was seen at the Chicago White Sox World Series in 2005.
Oh, wow.
They're 2 strikes away from a win here in 2005 in Game 1 with Jenks on the mound.
The Cubs and the White Sox are dueling over which team he actually roots for.
So here's my final thing, Paul, and this is
God
I'm going to
will
kick
be
it to
their
you.
27th player, yes.
Pope Prevost, Leo XIV, was reserved and discreet by nature. He had the dark horse label, and I think the Vatican elected the real-life Cardinal Benitez, but with full genitalia.
I had a lot of
Both guys
I had
were
a
long
lot
shots.
of issues with the end of Conclave. Hopefully, I will have fewer issues with Leo the 14th. Can I chime in, man?
Yeah,
I have
please.
thought
Talk
on
to me
this.
about this. Yeah.
So I'm very excited this for a lot of reasons. I think it's great for America. We got our first pope. I also think that we're going to get a lot of humor out of his brother. His brother is the new Billy Carter.
Yep.
Roger Clinton. This
Yeah.
guy's name is Lewis. He lives in Florida.
Lewis.
He reposted apparently calling Nancy Pelosi the C word.
Yeah.
And then he was also quoted as saying, I can't believe he's Pope. Seems like just yesterday I was shoving him down the stairs.
Right.
He's basically like, if we became Pope and like my older brother somehow is like,
Yeah.
that seemed would be weird. And then on top of that, he also was like, I saw some interview with him where he's like, oh yeah, he watched Conclave during the Conclave and he called me on the phone. And I'm like, aren't these guys supposed to be sequestered?
Yeah.
But he was calling his
love that.
knucklehead brother on the phone.
I saw a clip of some girl. She was on a FaceTime with her mother, and they were watching as they announced who the Pope was. And they're in Chicago. And she goes, oh my God, Mom, it's Robert Prevost. And she's like, holy shit. And in the thing, she goes, that's who my mom hooked up with 25 years ago. And she's like, holy shit, I hooked up with the Pope. Because he didn't become a priest right away. He's
Wow.
got some dalliances out there.
Wow, that disqualified, I thought, one of the guys in the
Is
movie.
it really? If you boned, you can
No,
become Pope?
I mean, you got to do it before.
Yeah.
But, I mean, before you become a priest, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's very exciting. We're going to talk a little bit about Meghan Markle. She keeps coming up. I think the brother's a little bit like Meghan Markle's dad.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get some good entertainment value
Got
from the brother. That's what I care most about.
I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of boned, let's segue into the Golden State Warriors. Now, folks, we're recording this on Monday. Game 4 is about to happen in an hour. This pod will probably drop right after Game 5. Potentially, this series could be over by the time this comes out in the next 2 days, unless we win a game and get to Game 6. So, I don't know, Paul. I think I was all prepared to talk about how we're kicking the T-Wolves' ass. We were going to do a new segment called Pat Spencer Corner that had some self-help involved. But then Steph goes down with the hamstring, which changes everything. So let's talk big picture, Paulie. All right? If we don't get out of this series with the T-Wolves, is the championship window still open? How do we kind of wrap up this year? I mean, you want to go neg? I know you love going neg.
Matt, I'm just back from Asia. I'm feeling good. I'm happy about the Pope. I'm going to go positive here.
Give it to me. Yeah.
I think that there's a silver lining in this Steph injury, and that silver lining, I'm not the first person that says, the silver lining is that we're getting to see Kuminga.
Yeah.
Because Kuminga would have been relegated to the bench for the rest of the playoffs, and then they would have let him go, done some dumb thing. They would have Joey Barted him, as I like to say.
Sure.
And we'd be stuck with Patrick Bailey, who's hitting 170 over the course of the last 80 games. Bart is now you love my Joey Bart stuff. He's hitting 290 with a 790 OPS for the Pirates.
That's called a tease, folks. Kuminga.
Anyway, we're seeing who Kuminga is, and I think the championship window is not closed.
No, it's not.
Because don't forget how good this team was down the stretch, right? They're going to have Butler for the full season. They're going to figure out some way to incorporate Kuminga, or they're going to get more for him in a trade than they would have otherwise, right? Because this is a great showcase. I don't think the window's closed. I think they had to sprint too hard down the finish line to get into the playoffs. They fucked up by not closing it out earlier against the Rockets. Steph gets hurt the next game. Not a surprise for a 37-year-old. I think they can load manage next year. I think they can do all sorts of shit with these guys. So I don't think the window's.
Yeah.
I think next year, I'm very positive about what's going to happen
Because
next year.
a friend of the pod, Elaine Uwe, watched the cleaning lady on Fox. He was saying to me, who's going to win a championship sooner, the Lakers or the Warriors? And I was saying to him, in the next 3 years, because we have Jimmy, Dre, and Curry signed for the next 2 years, those 2 years, I think we have a great opportunity to everything you just said. Now, Kuminga is playing like a guy who wants to get paid. He's a restricted free agent next year. So, folks, what that means is that anybody can give him an offer, and the Warriors can match it. Now, if we don't decide to match it, we can get draft pick compensation back. And I think him showing
we can
out,
trade him.
You know why he's interested in him is the New Jersey Nets. The New Jersey Nets.
I love that.
The Brooklyn Nets are very
You're a
interested
big
in
ABA
him.
guy, I know.
But it all depends on what they're going to, what he's going to get offered here. Here's my other question to you, and maybe I'm basically asking myself this question to educate. But who do we sign next year to help us?
This is your area, Matt. I clear out for you, and you give me some random basketball guy who I haven't thought of before.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
I think we need a big man that fits our offense. I think some of the big names out there, Brooke Lopez.
Yeah, Stanford guy.
Steven Adams.
I would actually like Steven Adams. I know how much people fucking hate Draymond. That's how I feel about Steven Adams. I'd actually rather have him be on our team so I don't have to hate him anymore.
Well, Steven Adams also, when you need a big man with the Warriors, we run a motion offense. You need a guy that can pass.
He and Draymond both love to kick guys in the nuts.
And
so
they're
get
actually
two guys in the same team who like to kick guys in the nuts.
I think they have a lot of respect for each other. Clint Capella is another name.
Isn't this a nice lid, by the way?
I think it's gorgeous.
And the font and the whole Yomiuri thing.
I just want to say, when I was in 7th grade, I did a book report on the biography of Sadahara O.
That's incredible. Do you know, my jersey has a name on it. You know what name?
I saw it earlier, but I'm going to spoil it for the people not watching. Tanaka.
Tanaka, I don't know who the fuck Tanaka is. Although apparently he's Masahiro Tanaka, who pitched in the major leagues for a long time.
You know, for the Yankees, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I didn't know that. I didn't care. So if you watch or read, and you should read, it's a great book on Japan, and it's James Bond. You only live twice. So Tiger Tanaka is Bond's contact in Japan. So I'm Tiger Tanaka. When I wear this, I feel like Tiger Tanaka.
Hey, listen, if you guys ever get a dog, Tanaka. I think that's the way to go there. Tanaka-homa. Speaking of that, folks, the San Francisco Giants, Paul, as we record this, they just come off of getting swept by the Minnesota Twin Cities.
What was your quote about the weekend we just had against Minnesota as a place, because the Warriors and the Giants? Trying to turn the state of Minnesota into the villains.
So how do you feel about this sweep here? I mean, I know, the sky's not falling, but Lamont Wade Blues and Ryan Walker's got issues. What do we do?
The Giants are who we thought they were. They're a 500 team. They started out 9-3. They're 16-16 since then. They are a 500 team. They've been a 500 team for the last 3 seasons. They're going to be a 500 team again. I think they're a much more fun and interesting 500 team because Farhan's out of there. We get guys to root for. I want to bring up Bryce Eldridge right now.
Same.
He hit a fucking 3-run homer on Saturday. Who cares? Learn on the job. Buster Posey was barely in the minors.
Correct.
Tim Lincecum was barely in the minors. Learn on the job. I don't want to see Lamont Wade again. I don't want to see Brett Wisely ever again. I want those two guys to start a used car dealership, Ceremony, Kia, whatever.
Yep.
You like that with that other guy, the fucking guy from last year.
They're all there.
They're all there.
Yeah.
Anyway, get me Birdsong and Harrison in the starting lineup somehow. Put Hicks to the bullpen. Roop should go back into the bullpen. Anyway, I think there's a lot to root for there. They are a 500 team. So I'm not panicking. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Nick, this was the text I sent the Neg Zone. This is the text I sent Paul and Steve Groeschel. I said, losing to the T-Wolves and Twins back-to-back feels like being jacked off by your friend's grandmother.
Wow. See, I knew it was somehow grandmother related, but I don't know why I went with the cane.
On that note, can we segue into our interview?
I think we can. We got all baseball season to talk baseball, man. We talked a lot of baseball at the beginning. We just talked NPB and KBO.
KBO. Folks, I swear to God, do not jump to the end. Stick around for this great interview with a good friend, Jeff fucking Hilliard. Who do I get? Who should I get? It's hard for me because I should have been a spy. Because the Italian Filipino, no one knows.
Something ridiculous.
Estrada? Like a Wilbur Valderrama party?
A young Joe Pesci, his brother.
You're a little more tan.
So stupid.
So ridiculous.
So stupid. Oh, God.
A young Joe Pesci's brother.
Why are we recording this?
We are recording.
Are these cold drinks?
Find a flavor you like. This is a coconut pineapple.
This is root beer out of a Beat LA bar.
It's actually really good.
What flavor is that, Jeff?
This is a berry citrus.
Berry citrus.
Day trip.
Day trip, baby. Happier is happiness is one of their slogans.
It's like LSD infused.
You know what they also say? Escape the ordinary.
Oh, God.
God, there it is, baby.
It's got vitamin C, prebiotics, botanicals. California made, baby. Only 60 calories. It's incredible.
Beat LA heads, we're back, and as we said before, we got a real special guest. Today's guest is a man, Paul, who's basically a one-man content machine. Actor, filmmaker, musician, and the mastermind behind some of the wildest, most satirical music videos you'll ever see. Now, you've seen Jeff in films like Dog Eat Dog with Nick Cage, Frankenstein with Carrie Ann Moss, but you've probably laughed your ass off to his insanely brilliant music videos like Multitude, Finger Bang Your Day, or, my favorite, Consensual. Okay? Yes, those are real songs, and they're bangers literally and figuratively. He's like if David Lynch, Weird Al, and Andy Kaufman had a baby, raised it on Sunset Boulevard. Please welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Hilliard. Jeff in the house. What's up, man?
Thank you.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Life is good.
You look healthy.
I'm trying to be healthy. You have to be in Los Angeles.
Paul and I were discussing this, and if people just knew you from your music videos and the roles you play, they would think you're a madman, like a maniac.
Yes.
But then you're like the nicest,
Yes.
most down-to-earth dude I know. There's no question. That's just a statement. I just wanted to say that.
It's funny. I was with an agency, a commercial agency, many years ago, and I ran into her, whatever. She was like, "How do you not have representation? Yada yada yada. You need to be repped." And so she pitched me to an agent, and he looked at my stuff, like a theatrical agent, and he responded, "I was just too dangerous."
You're too dangerous.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that about
I
me,
was going to
Matt.
say that same to me.
Yeah.
You've never gotten your danger
I don't know,
Tokyo?
you about 2 a.m. sometimes you get dangerous. You're like gremlin on.
You know how you got that danger
Coke.
strut when you're like walking at 2 a.m. home?
Yeah.
So you don't get mugged.
Yeah, no, I mean, but if you talk to me and you meet me in person, when I meet, like I mentioned earlier, I meet people that had seen my music videos, and then they meet me and they're immediately disappointed and let down because they say, you could be my neighbor.
Right.
I was like, I just meet the guy so he can see that I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm playing characters. We're here in Los Angeles.
They said the same thing about Clark Kent and Superman.
Right?
It's okay to have an alter ego.
Yeah, alter egos all day, man. Listen, before we even get started for our audience here, Jeff, we're going to cut to some clips right now real quick of his music videos. Now, we got a perfect foil here because I've known you for many years. I've put you in a couple of my films. You're always fucking brilliant. Paul knows of you peripherally.
Right.
Paul, when you saw Multitude or Finger Bang Your Day, or was it Abandoned?
The newest one, Abandoned. That's the
Abandoned,
newest
yeah.
one, right?
What did you think of Jeff? Like, what did you
I'm like, this guy
formulate?
should be an international superstar.
International superstar.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I also thought, boy, these are high production value music videos. I don't know how you shoot those things.
Yeah.
And it made me miss the days of music videos too.
Yeah.
I feel like you're a man out of time in some ways.
Well, I grew up prime age of MTV.
Yep. Same.
And then also Saturday Night Live. And so when I was a kid, I either wanted to be on Saturday Night Live or be in Van Halen or something. And so that didn't work out. So I guess I kind of created my own little world. It's great doing an art form, a dying art form that most people could give a shit about. And I'm completely passionate about making these insane music
Rage
videos.
Against the Dying Light. The first thing I saw, so you sent me My Face.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm not really sure what's going on with this guy. Song's very fucking catchy.
Yep.
There's a whole thing happening. And then I realized My Face is not really, like, if it would have had a paren around it, and they say, like, get out of my dreams, get into my car kind of thing.
Sure.
It's actually sit on my face, right? So
Yeah.
My Face, I thought it was, anyway, which made it even better.
Even better.
To do what these little boys can't.
I got, okay, before, like, I think with Jeff, the same thing happened to me.
Right.
I think our mutual friend Nick Moyaris was like, I think we
Shout
should
out to
cast
Nick.
Jeff in this thing. Check out his videos. And you're kind of just blown away. Your music videos are wild. What comes first, the song or the visual concept?
That's a good question. And every single possibility you think of has, sometimes I think of the character first and then the song comes after it. And then sometimes we'll do the music and then I'll figure out what's the story of this song and then I'll figure out the story. And then sometimes I'll have the song and I don't even know what the character is that's singing the song. So it's like every possible. The great thing about it is I have an obsessive mind where I can obsess about a project for like an extreme amount of time, which is probably on the spectrum of mental illness. And
Yeah.
it's just my strategy to get through this whole life experience, like the computer simulation we're living in or whatever the fuck is
Right.
to obsess over these like really insane characters. And in my mind, I create an entire movie for them or like a television series.
Right.
And I'm going through backstories and how they got to where they were and then where they end. Like, I overdo everything. Even when we shoot the music videos, I overshoot it. I work with my cinematographer, John Orphan, who's absolutely brilliant. And we've developed a relationship over the years where he just kind of now trusts me. When we first started, he just, he was like, what the fuck are we doing? But so he's like my Mick Jagger type of thing.
You know, I've worked with Paul on a couple of shoots.
Or
and
he's my Keith Richards, maybe, right?
There you go.
Paul said the same thing to me too. He's like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" Yeah.
Do you like monetize these things? Like how? Because they're big production
wish.
values. It looks
I
like.
wish.
Because like the band and I think it was a band, and you're standing on like you're in the desert. You're on some sand dune.
Yeah.
There's like a helicopter shot. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
I know how to make stuff look really expensive, and I've worked with a bunch of brilliant people, and most of the people that have worked on my stuff are somehow into it and they want to work with me. So that's how I've been able to pull a lot of these off. It's insane.
Can I ask, what's a budget number? Like, I feel like any good director has this thing where like, I can make anything look great for cheap. And I've like lived off of that card.
Right.
For Companion that we did together,
Right.
we did that for 50 and people thought we spent 45. With your music videos, can we talk about a number ish?
Okay, well, let's break this down. They're all different. It just depends on what I have access to. The last, not my face, but the last 4 before that, Abandon, Consensual, Finger Banger Day, and Silicone Wave. Mm-hmm. I had a person who contacted me that had said he'd been a fan of mine for many years. He said that I made 2 of his favorite music videos. He was such a fan that he just wanted to help out. So I literally had a patron for a period of time, and that's how I was able to make those 4 music videos. And I was able to record all those songs. And that song, My Face, was a very expensive song. That I had like Prince's saxophone player on it. I had this brilliant guy named Rod Castro who plays with Beyonce. I've had like the top studio musicians. That song costs more than the music video.
Right.
I need to manifest like a billionaire super fan because there's a lot of these music videos that need to be made.
Most of our listeners and viewers.
You know what I love
We're
there?
very targeted. We only have billionaires and millionaires listening to this and watching this
That's
podcast.
very true.
Yeah.
That's very true, Paul. And I love how you
I didn't answer your question.
Trophy wives.
But the whole thing, you don't have to answer the question. You can tell us off air, but I love how you answered that like you were running for president. It was the answer.
That's great.
It was the answer, non-answer.
It was an answer,
campaign.
non-answer. Well, you also forwarded your agenda, which is important.
This is good.
Yes.
Well, no, okay. So the most expensive music video I did was Abandoned.
Okay.
I think we did $35,000 to $40,000.
Okay.
And that could have been done a lot cheaper, but I had to do stuff on above board because whatever. That's a long story. But that was the most expensive music video I did. That's because we rented out that stage downtown, which is Studio 60, which was a lot of money to do that. And then I had a full band.
Okay.
I had like the light crew and the thing, and then all the different locations. That one was that was a big music video. There's like a lot of people there. But most of the music videos are just me and my cinematographer.
No, I get it. I get it. They're fucking brilliant. So Paul and I came up with a bunch of questions for you. We're gonna just fire a couple of these at you. How would you describe your music to somebody's mom, to my mother, to our mothers?
I have to tell you
they're
something.
both 90 years old.
Yeah.
And very hip ladies.
My mother is in her 80s.
Yeah.
And she, plays bingo and stuff. And I'll get messages randomly that my mother came in and did some work for some medical stuff, and they'll message me like, "Oh my God, your mother is so proud of you," and told me about, just check out your stuff. I just want to tell you how blah, blah, blah. My mother is in her 80s, and her friends that play bingo and stuff are always asking her like, when is my next video coming out? That's my target demographic.
Yeah.
It's like I should just
Get
be
in
going
the
to
wills.
senior
Get in the wills.
citizen.
And then you got somebody to pay for all these.
Can we do a documentary where I need a team of people. We go around to old folks' home to try to find people that don't have kids to leave money to and donate it to the arts.
Golden
and
Girls meets Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Right? I could show the music videos. I could set them up and see like.
Jeff, 7 years ago when my dad was at this retirement home, I think I've told you this, I helped one of the women there who didn't have any kids with her trust. And I looked it over and everything. She gifted me, she didn't have a lot of money, but she gifted me an autographed photo of Marlon Brando that she had gotten signed in like 1956. And it had the papers, the authentication thing. So to your point, if we go around to some old people homes, Nick, is that weird? Not at all. Okay. We could do this.
Nick's done this in his dating life.
Well, this is the dream right here. Listen to this.
Yeah.
So this would be the greatest thing ever. You have an elderly person that's going to pass away, and their kids are nightmares.
Yeah.
And the greatest fuck you the mom and the dad has is they show them like my music videos, like The Cock That Heals or The Good Life or Balls, and say that you're not getting anything, but I want you to know that this guy who does these really dark satirical songs and music videos, I'm giving him all of my inheritance.
Right. 10% goes to Greenpeace, 90% goes to you.
It's like it would be the greatest fuck you to these terrible kids who have amounted nothing and didn't really do anything, right?
We can make that happen. Is there? It's like Field of Dreams. Is there such a place, a magical place where this could happen? What if I told you there was?
Is this heaven? No. It's Iowa.
How fucking bummed would you be that you've upset your parent in the...
This is all part of the TV show, too. The reading of the will.
Paul, how did you feel about when you heard the song "The Cock That Heals"? How did that make you feel?
I could relate.
You could relate to that.
Yeah.
It's a lovely song.
Nick, throw up the picture of the van. Did the van come first? You had the van and were like, I got to make a song about the van?
I met this guy at one of these rehabs that was like this narcissistic lunatic, and he became a life coach, which I thought was the funniest thing ever.
And can I say this is how you created Mr. Randy Balboa?
Yes, that's Randy Balboa. And so then I wrote a television pilot based around this narcissistic, jackass, suicidal life coach called Randy Balboa. He had like a failed jumpsuit line, and all he had left was the van and the jumpsuit, and he realized he could make that into his whole world of getting people in the fuck yeah zone, because he blends the top and the bottom. So your pants are the past, your top is the future, and most people are not present at all. So what I do is I jump you into the fuck yeah zone with the jumpsuit, and then you'd come into the van and do a life coaching session. But before that, I was going to do a podcast called The Jumpsuit Lifestyle. And then we would shoot that. And this television producer friend of mine, she's like, you just got to get like 2 celebrities, and I think I could sell that show. So I get the van, I get the thing art directed, I put the whole thing together, and the television producer friend gets like a rare disease and just kind of retires from anything, because now she's dealing with a serious health issue. So now I just have this van. So then I wrote the television pilot, and then tried to make a television show. So I had the van, and in the pilot, I wrote a joke where some guy in the thing says, "Nice fucking rape van, creep," and my character's like, "Whoa, there's no raping, there's no sex. If there was sex, it would be consensual." And then the character's idea is that he wants to rebrand the rape van as a consensual van, so that that's where that came from.
Hold on, Nick said, I just got a call here. It's Day Trip. Wait, so we lost our sponsorship. We just lost our sponsorship.
So someone's listening to this going, what kind of lunatic did you find?
Yeah, they're out.
They're out?
They're out. Yeah.
So how does the van became consensual in part by putting windows in it? Because that makes it less rapey, right, if you have windows. Yeah,
well, no, I just thought it'd be funny if it just says on the side consensual. Like there's no, like I just think it's so funny where someone's so they feel so threatened by being judged that there's something that they do, the overcompensation. So he's got the band says, and the reason why I did this song is my brilliant music producer, who's done a lot of songs with Lee Miles, but go to his place, and he lived kind of down by San Diego at the time, and I had the van there, and he was working with an artist, and he goes, "Oh yeah, this is Jeff's consensual van." I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to do that song," because I always wanted to do the song, and that's when that went down.
I love it, because now it's like I got the behind the music to that, Paul. Yeah.
Have you ever written a song that you didn't think was like funny, right? Because like I don't know if I know how to write unless I'm making myself laugh, because I've basically been a comedy writer for 25 years. So like I'm like, films like, write a drama. I'm like, I don't know if I'm a good writer. I know if I make myself laugh. Do you know what I mean?
I do have songs that they're not funny if you listen to it, but I had the idea, the music video that I want to make for it. Because we live in a fucking satire. Right. I don't know what this is. But that's what I did Second City, went through conservatory. I'm all about satire. my favorite films are like a dramedy or a satire, where it's like heavy drama, but it's also dark humor and it's realistic. So that's the space I live in. I could venture into like a psychological thriller or a horror film. They have elements of it. It's the hardest humor to write is satire. So whatever's the most difficult thing for whatever the fuck is wrong with me, I think I need to go down that road. Like, I don't even know. Do you understand? I didn't even know how to sing when I started doing these. I couldn't even sing karaoke. I had to like work with a vocal coach to even get to the point.
Passion.
Yeah.
So, like, I think I'm Christian Bale. I'm gaining weight. I'm losing weight. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah. You're also an actor. You brought this up, and I want to touch on just some of your acting stuff here. You've worked with Paul Schrader.
Yes.
You did a movie with Nick Cage. Like, any stories there? What was that? Like, what's it like with Schrader? Any chaos? Is he a completely normal dude? I remember that scene you did in that movie was fucking hilarious. The talk show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what's Schrader like?
You know, that movie, I'm doing what's called a day player.
By the way, for our audience, Paul Schrader wrote Taxi Driver.
Right, he's a legend.
He's a legend.
The whole thing was kind of funny, and every movie I've been cast in, I've never had like a theatrical agent or anything, and so. Excuse me. Every single wheel.
Go. Brought to you by Day Trip.
Right
yeah,
there.
that's great. No reason why that guy's never had an agent. So everything I've ever been booked for that's been a producer or a director or a friend of the producers, known my videos or something, and it's like, hey, check this thing out, whatever. And so a friend of mine was working with the producer that was making that film, Mark, who's great. And I just did those jumpsuit, I did a line of jumpsuits as a joke and had those commercials, and he said he loved them. Every time I saw him, I just talked about jumpsuits and how great they are, or whatever. And I get a phone call out of nowhere. He goes, gun enthusiast. I was like, what? He's like, I want you to audition for this part. And I'm thinking like my friend has like maybe pushed him to get me to audition, and I'm gonna be like in some weird cattle call, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna audition to potentially be in a Paul Schrader film for Dog Eat Dog.
Yeah.
I show up there. I'm just sitting there. There's a bunch of women there, and there's no characters like me that are gonna audition for this. And I see Paul Schrader walk past me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna be auditioning with Paul Schrader in the room.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh shit, this got real.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So I go in, I do the audition. I can't even believe I'm even meeting the guy or sitting in front of him, being like a fan of cinema and film. And so I do it, and I'm is it called a day player? And that, when you'd cast a film, you would just get a local hire, someone that's an actor that lives there.
Yeah.
And so he turns to the producer and he says, we need to make sure all the other day players are good actors like Jeff.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. I'm like, I don't even, that was one of the coolest things ever happened. So I leave and I don't hear anything for a week, right? Yeah. And then Mark called me. He's like, oh yeah, you got cast right as you left the room.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is fun. I couldn't even believe I got to be in a film. So when I went and shot it, he shows up. And obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. I do the scene how he wants it. You improv it for him, or you do the lines and everything, and he gives you the direction. And then the B director is shooting it. But I got to improv a lot of it, which is my favorite thing to do. I mean, I love to get the lines like they want, and then just go on crazy tangents.
Right.
But that was an honor to be in the film, and on the set was great. My friend Christopher Matthew Cook got cast as a lead in that film, and like last second, and it was so exciting that we were in this movie, and he was playing like a major lead. They were going to get a major movie star who backed out at the last second, and he's was in it. And so I got to meet Willem Dafoe, and my friend is crazy, introduces me to him and says, my friend Jeff here, he's a genius, which is like, how are you introducing me to this guy?
Fucking
like, what do you do?
To fucking William Dafoe.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
Just like, I'm like, what do you do?
That's
it was really funny, but I've been very fortunate to even participate in any kind of films and stuff. And we went to the premiere of it. I'm friends with Gordy Hoffman, whose brother is Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's one of my heroes. And we went to the film, and then my scene was the opening scene, and it was amazing. He looked down at me, and he goes, now you're a part of cinematic history.
Boom.
That was pretty amazing.
That's fucking amazing. That's fucking great. I think Paul Schrader's a little misunderstood. We're kind of in a theme of...
But he's like, what is he, in his 70s, 80s? He's running around when they're... I got to see him shoot scenes and stuff, and it was amazing to watch him work.
But like you were misunderstood. There's a lot of misunderstood themes, I think, in general. Listen, I feel like you know a lot of people. Who's like someone you think, just in general, that you think's misunderstood in this town? Do you have any thoughts on
Here
that?
in Los Angeles?
Yeah. I know that's kind of a backdoor
Meghan
question.
Markle.
Wow.
Okay.
Didn't see that one coming.
Nick, you're a big fan of Meghan
Yeah.
Markle. Okay?
I think she has the perfect level of psychopathy. I think it's a setup. I think she could be the next president of the United States, and I think she would do such a great job. I think she's got what it takes.
Hey, were you a big Suits fan?
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
I was. I was hitting on you.
You were. Take notes, I'm not going to repeat myself.
I love you.
You haven't seen it.
Hey,
It
look,
doesn't matter.
Suits LA's already been canceled.
Been canceled.
The original one, you can't kill it. Literally, just keeps coming back. Meghan Markle.
Maybe you do
Wouldn't that be amazing?
What if you did a satire with Prince Harry look-alike? Somehow there's some sort of triangle.
Nick kind of looks like Prince
Kind
Harry.
of a triangle between a Meghan Markle and a
I
Prince
want to be
Harry.
part. I want to help with her campaign.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I like to work with her and Prince Harry to help
her run for president.
Yeah, it has to keep topping itself and getting crazier, right?
Right.
I mean, she could do like her lifestyle show could be the presidency, you know? And then Hilaria, Alec Baldwin's wife.
Yeah, misunderstood.
Yes, she's another genius.
He said
This is where we're at
Hilaria.
right now.
I thought he was actually saying multiple hilarious.
Like, how do you say cucumber lady?
Is Hilaria multiple hilarious? But Hilaria Baldwin.
Yes.
Yeah,
they should be the ticket.
Hilaria Baldwin and Meghan Markle.
Yeah. And then Alec Baldwin on the campaign trail would be amazing.
That'd be fucking best.
Doing his Trump impersonation.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, I had a friend who was on the set of Rust the day it happened.
Jeez.
I just wanted to bring the pod as far down as I could just for a brief moment.
Wow. That's not Hilaria.
Yeah. I want to go to the 90s. We want to jump in the hot tub time machine.
It must be some kind of hot tub time machine.
What was, and listen, I don't want to date you here, okay? But there's a little bit of gray in the beard, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm old.
But people love this shit on the TikToks.
Right.
What was LA like for a young creative back in the 90s? What changed?
I moved here in 1998 as a metaphor.
As a metaphor.
Los Angeles, when I first came here, was like this really sexy supermodel that was hilarious and dangerous and not interested, then all of a sudden interested, would flirt with you, then would ignore you, then out of nowhere you got a hand job in a parking lot, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yep.
Then you get a call, then you're like involved with her and all of her friends, and then you don't even hear from her forever.
That's not LA anymore, Paul. No.
This is
That's
LA
the
now.
best description of LA in the late 90s.
LA
I've ever
now
heard.
is like 3 o'clock in the morning, banging on the door. What the hell's going on? And there's a guy outside who's overweight, or he's got a wig on with 5 o'clock shadow and some smeared lipstick and a dress with an erection and beating on the door with a dildo, demanding money.
That's what LA is today.
That's today.
That is what LA is
So
today.
this is what's changed.
Have you thought about running for mayor?
Of West Hollywood or just Los Angeles?
Yeah, LA. I
Again.
would vote for that. And that guy who just explained how the decline of LA.
Right.
I'm like, this guy gets it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna vote for him.
we are basically Gotham City meets Grand Theft Auto. That's where we're at right now.
Man, but that sounds more
It's
interesting. I don't know
exciting.
if we're even there on that.
We're getting there. And I think they could use that to bring back the entertainment industry. The trick would be, instead of making Snow White and spending all that money, is find a bunch of lunatic directors that get out of the risk-averse stuff and then go full risk. And then instead of making like one awful movie, make 50 movies and just give someone like myself money so I could make my feature film. And I would imagine out of those 50 people you'd get 3 or 4 or 5 of them would be amazing films. That's what they used to do in the 70s.
And they did it a little bit in the 90s, too, when
Right.
Tarantino showed up and did Reservoir
You gotta
Dogs,
do
right?
out of the box.
Yeah, they did the indie revival in the 90s. Was kind of like the 70s. So maybe it's been 30 years, but let's bring it back, babe.
I love that. I love that. Now,
You're just the guy to bring it back. You're both the guys to bring it back.
Well, you're going to be there too, Paul.
I am?
Okay.
Am I the guy banging on the door with the smeared lipstick and the dildo?
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
Yeah. Dressed as George Bush.
Yeah.
Hey, I got my SAG card, baby. I pay that thing off every fucking quarter.
Listen,
I don't know why.
You're sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been sober a long time.
20 years.
20 years. So back in 98, when you got here, before I had my dalliance for a couple years in the program, in the late 90s, mid 90s, I was getting down. Were you like going to like Bar One, Roxbury?
Yeah.
What were the places you were hitting in the 90s?
Bar
Viper
One.
Room?
You know, it's really funny. I was young and dreamy.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny when it says that. But I was very fit.
Where are you from, man? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a small town of Western Kansas, also Colorado, moved to Kansas City my senior year, went to University of Kansas, and after I graduated, I moved out here. And I was a fun alcoholic. It was a lot of fun. And I got a job working at the Sports Club LA as a personal trainer, which was hilarious.
Wow.
It's like,
because
it was like,
we usually talk about a lot of sports on this podcast. We haven't talked about any sports.
When I was young, I was obsessed with basketball. My only goal or dream in life was to dunk it my senior year in a game. I ran a 4.5 40, had a 38-inch standing vertical. Wow. My junior year, going my senior year, and I ended up playing. I tore my knee up my senior year playing football, so it ended all that. So now I'm like lost in college. Then I fell into the acting. I'm like, fuck this, like playing sports. And I was always doing like weird characters my whole life. So my goal was when I started working as an actor in college, I was like, how am I going to get to LA and survive? And I became a personal trainer and got hired at the job. And it was like kind of hilarious because it was just like all these like plastic surgery lunatics and celebrities. And it was insane. So my only way to function and stuff was to go out. So I ended up meeting like all the people who ran the nightclub. So I would be the only idiot in there that was like non-celebrity fancy person. Yep. And the people, they thought I was funny. So I was, and then it was hilarious. I'd like go to like the Sky Bar when it was like the place to be.
Right.
And then I, was introduced to the doorman at the time was Mark, who was at the time like the top 10 most powerful 50 people in Hollywood, most powerful people.
Because he was the doorman at the Sky Bar.
Yeah. And there was one moment where I had like this lady ran into my vehicle and I was like, hey, let's just get out of the middle of traffic and exchange information. I didn't realize that translated in Spanish as just get back in your car and just go on. So my car was totaled. I am reduced to driving a scooter in Los Angeles. I mean, I was like pathetic, but I could go to all these nightclubs like I was some superstar in my like loser fucking scooter. And then you'd go up there and it'd be like 50 people trying to get in that are fancy people. Then I would somehow
get right in.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was I was like my tour through purgatory when I first moved to Los Angeles.
If you could bring back one old LA spot, what would it be? Which one would it be?
There's nights. You know what I mean? Ecstasy was amazing. And some friends of mine ran the Garden of Eden on a Wednesday night. And so I could hang out in the VIP room. So I had some fun nights where I would do there. Yeah. And then I would end up at like some house in the hills and some weird stuff.
Yeah.
I've had so many fun nights at so many different places. Yeah. And I'm glad I graduated from all that. And I got into doing stand-up. And every once in a while, I would take one of my comedian friends into that world. And they'd be like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Because I would be like,
all I keep thinking about is what famous person, how many famous people has he had sex with? I know you don't want to actually say names. I get that. Right. Or we had the Eskimo Brothers game on this podcast for a little while. I just met you. I don't want to put you on the spot. But I'm just, on my head,
that's where
I'm going to a fun place where I'm Jeff's wingman at some of these things. Yeah. And he's got some extra stuff hanging around. And he's like, hey, Paul, why don't you go hang out with Lily Taylor? I don't fucking know.
Heather Locklear's sister.
That's better.
Heather Graham, Heather Locklear. Those were like our heroes when we were little kids.
Yeah.
I never been to a P. Diddy party. However,
that's smart. Always use that as a disclaimer. Matt has never told me that.
Equinox Gym, I was an executive member on Sunset, and I got into like meditation and stuff, and I would go in the regular steam room became like a gay cruise ship, which I'm all for these guys, whether they want to do, but it's weird. I tried to meditate and I got some weird guy touch me to be like, hey, you care if I put this next to you or something? I'm like, what are you touching me? And whatever. So I became an executive member, which wasn't that much more money. And there was no one in there forever. It was amazing. Then all the Neanderthal weirdos that would come in there that would leave their towels everywhere and stuff. Yeah. And so I would just get like, that was one of my weird things. If there were towels in the steam room, I'd like throw them out into where they're supposed to go. So I go in the steam room and there's like towels laid out everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with these maniacs? So I take all the towels and I throw them in the thing and I go back in there. Then the door opens and it's 3 massive guys that look like they could play for the Raiders, right. And I was like, oh shit. And it's 3 guys and P. Diddy. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm trying to process. Obviously, they're like I'd seen him before. He had like a bodyguard or something. Yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck? Who's got like 3 I've lived enough life. I've met enough people. I don't really give a fuck what anyone's deal is. This was like before COVID. And I looked at him and I go, so what is it? Is it more money, more problems? And he looked at me and laughed and said, you have no idea.
Yeah. I love this.
And
I love this story.
I had no idea.
I love that.
I had no
love
fucking idea.
Yeah. The no ditties now become that. That's just become a phrase now. When people are like, if like Nick came up to me and said, your car's getting towed, I'd be like, no diddy. I don't know how to use it, but that's what the kids are saying.
I'm just glad at the time I was old and fat and no gay man was coming at this. Not that I don't know what he is, but I would not be a part of PD. No interest. Now, be the 25-year-old version of me, maybe.
Who knows
Maybe
what
I
we would have done? Paul's
I was just looking for free beer back then, man. I would have said yes.
Well, we all miss going to like Hollywood, like going into the hills to a house party, and the house had no furniture. Remember those things? And it was just somebody fronting, and it was the best.
Yeah, like some drug dealer from some place. There was one. There was one time with some guy who was embezzling.
Remember the movie Go?
Go. Yeah. You know what's interesting? Paul's full circle. Now he lives in the hills, and his house has furniture.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's amazing. With a wife and everything.
He's got a wife and everything.
Kids?
Yeah, no kids.
Can we do a fun lightning round brought to you by Day Trip Beverages?
Sure.
Let's do it. Let's crack another one. Everyone grab one. Grab one and crack. Let's crack it. I'm going to get the...
Because I've been doing the prebiotics.
I'm going to do a lemon lime.
I'm going to CBD.
Which one? What flavor you got there?
The cream soda.
Cream soda?
This whole conversation is making me a little anxious, so this will probably calm me down.
This is great. Ooh, this has kind of got a fun thing happening.
Grapefruit.
All right.
That's good.
We're going to escape the ordinary here, Jeff. Really quickly.
Delicious. Wow.
We're going to rapid fire here. With some quick questions here. If people were just discovering the Jeff Hilliard music, which track is the gateway drug they should enter into your life with?
The Good Life.
The Good Life.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Paul wanted me to ask you this one because he didn't know you.
I have a friend who wanted me to ask this.
Yeah, I have a friend.
Yeah.
What's the most Hollywood shit you've ever seen?
I mean, I have seen a lady taking a shit
in Hollywood
on
Hollywood Boulevard.
The Walk of Fame.
Yeah, I love that.
Was she homeless or was she just like on a reality show or something?
In Los Angeles, she could be a billionaire or home. I don't know.
Right.
You can't even tell.
Right.
I've discovered through our interview here that this question needed to be asked. When it was written, we didn't know if we were going to ask this. What conspiracy theory do you secretly believe in?
Ooh.
This is a difficult thing. I want to believe in them all, but I'm so skeptical.
Yeah.
Can we come back to this?
We can come back to this.
And I can tell you one of the greatest Hollywood things I've seen.
Okay.
The pictures on the camera just came out.
Right.
I'm going down Santa Monica Boulevard, and kind of in front of where Whole Foods is in Fairfax, and there's a beat up pickup truck in front of me, and it stops, and both the doors fly open. It's an elderly guy, probably late 60s, maybe early 70s, and this like an older trans, looks like a street person type thing, female trans, and they're involved and something didn't go down right.
Yeah.
And it's like a yelling, screaming, might even get physical, and coming this way was Angeline.
Okay, yeah.
And her pink Corvette. I was just trying to get to. It was like that moment. Like I have it etched in my.
Yeah.
It would have been the most beautiful photo ever.
Right.
And I missed it.
You missed
And
it.
it was heartbreaking. However, I was at Hollywood Boulevard. I was doing something, meeting someone. I was crossing the street, and you have like there's the Korean Christian, like a Jesus, like really about Jesus. They had them coming this way, and there was like the fat Elvis impersonator.
Okay.
And then they're coming. I'm realizing they're all going to be crossing the street coming towards us. And the guy next to me, I'm like, look at this. You see how great, this is amazing. The guy looks at me like I'm crazy. And here comes across the street fat Elvis with the Korean Jesus fandom, and they have like a cross, they have a bullhorn, they have signs. So it was like fat Elvis Presley leading the Korean Jesus. I mean, it was just everything beautiful because it's everything you need in Los Angeles.
Hey, stop fucking with Korean Jesus. He ain't got time for your problems. He busy with Korean shit.
That's better than my my Wesley Snipes story, which I've said on this pod too many times.
I've met Wesley Snipes.
I've met Wesley Snipes the week before he went into prison.
Oh, that's beautiful.
At an after hours on La Brea in Hollywood.
Wow.
I'll just say he thought he knew me and talked to me the whole night like we were boys.
Did he say you look like Joe Pesci's slightly darker brother?
That's what he said. That's called a MacGuffin for all you people, and that was brilliant. I'm going to ask you one more.
He's very talented.
Okay, here we go.
Snipes. Yes.
One more, but then we're gonna cut to what you're doing before we get you out of here. One person you'd love to cast in one of your music videos. You can ask for them on the pod now. We've had over 1 million views on social media. Maybe they'll watch it.
1.5 million, baby.
Person I'd want to cast. That's fucking like. just go as ridiculous as possible. I get like Tom Hardy, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh,
just name them all, like all the great.
Yeah. Hilliard, but we might be able to get Hilliard Baldwin.
That would be wow. Alec Baldwin, maybe.
Alec Baldwin
blows my head off.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas for one of his
Maybe
music
you
videos?
need to like write something specifically for them, right? Like My Left Dick or something like that for like Daniel Day-Lewis, right?
And he's like, no way in hell did.
He wrote My Left Dick. You wouldn't do it.
My Left Dick.
Yeah.
See, he may look like George, but he's as sick as you are. What? My Left Dick would be incredible.
Yeah.
Can we cut to the poster for My Left Foot? In fact, cut to a scene from My Left Foot.
A story of remarkable ingenuity becomes a triumph of the human spirit. My Left Foot.
I don't even know who My Left Dick is.
Well, we're going to find out. Wait till the end of the episode.
Jeff, before we get you out of here, what projects are you cooking up? What do you need to promote? What do people need to know about the albums, the videos, the appearances? What's happened? What's coming out soon?
There is a music video coming out. I got an opportunity to make a song for a film called Tim Travers and the Time Traveling Paradox, which is amazing. Stimson Sneed, I met him, a director at a music video film festival. He was into my music videos. He contacted me out of nowhere, gave me the opportunity to do a song for his film. It ends up being the film twice, and and then it's in the closing credits, which is amazing. And we got to shoot a music video on his set. It stars Samuel Dunning, who's brilliant, Felicia Day, Joel McHale, Danny Trejo, and David Craig.
Well, band has been winning awards in the film festival circuit left and right, I feel like.
Yeah, so it had a really good run. Abandoned, and now I have My Face is in the film festival world.
We're going to be in the same film festival this Thursday in Philadelphia. No, Sunday. I think this weekend we're going to be.
Yes.
You won't be there, but I'll hold it down for you.
It's tough to go to all these. Oh, so yeah, I have an album out called Black Swan Event. Just type my name into the interwebs.
Yep.
And you can find my stuff.
Black Swan Event?
Yeah, that was the name of the album. As if the releasing of my album was just going to change all time. And
yeah, I just love it. And I love that movie, too. Cut to a clip of Natalie Portman from that movie.
Producers, not just the prince, but the court, the audience, the entire world. Come on. The footy are like a spider spinning a web. Attack it! Attack it! Come on!
Paul's always got this question. I think we answered it in the pre-interview here, but...
if you didn't play yourself in the movie of your life, who would play you, Jeff?
Probably Joe Pesci.
Can I say to all of our fans watching this right now who need to get onto the YouTubes, Jeff for a long time was walking around Hollywood and people thought he was Bill Paxton.
People thought I was Terry Richardson. Because I had my serial killer glasses on and I had a mustache and short hair.
Photographer?
And before he became massive, I'd go out in places be like screaming, Terry! I'm like, who the fuck is Terry? Then my friend had his first book and showed me his photographs. Bill Paxton in Alien.
Yeah.
That scene was one of the best ever.
He's so good.
It's game over.
Game over. We're fucked, man.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal.
I'm really excited when one of my people comes on the show and then they can meet one of my dearest and closest friends. I feel like there's a thing here between the two of you. But Jeff, we loved having you on, and we want to have you back when all this stuff starts popping.
I'm here anytime.
This is the first interview we've done where we basically didn't talk about sports.
And I love it. Give me a high five. Great. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
Next time we'll talk.
Next time.
You're awesome, Jeff. Thanks,
all right.
All right, we're back, Paul. I feel like you got Jefferized. You feel like you got blown back there. What's up, baby? I mean, that was right up your alley. Hollywood music.
I'm never going to get the image of the 300-pound dildo makeup wigged guy banging on my door because I live in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
I'm going to get more security cameras.
I think there's a triangle there, and when I mean that, I don't mean that in a weird way. But there's definitely there's something happening with the three of us that I think could work.
Oh, I thought triangle. I thought you were like, you and the fucking dildo guy at the door and my wife. I thought that's what you were going with.
But Jeff, super talented man.
He's fucking unbelievable. Yeah. You got to watch these music videos. Anyway, he's great.
He's a great guy. We're going to definitely have him back on.
It made me think of I was trying to think of every dumb Hollywood story I could ever think of, which I'll save for the next episode. But there's some of those, including I don't know if I ever told you a story about being in a steam room with George Michael.
No,
I never told you that. I was at a Korean spa. Actually, it was called the Beverly Hot Springs. You know that place? Remember that place?
Yep.
And there had just been a Mike Tyson fight of some kind or another.
Yeah.
And we're a bunch of naked dudes in a sauna talking about fighting because we're like trying to be man. And George Michael's in there.
Oh, that's great.
And he's in there, and he's just, and he didn't look at, butt naked. He did not look at my junk once. I was totally offended.
Well, speaking, and I love this story, and I'm surprised I've known you for as long as I have known you, and you've never told me
I don't want you to think people aren't looking at me naked, man.
The George Michael sauna story. Speaking of which, when I was talking to Jeff, he told the great Diddy story, and then I was talking about how all the kids these days are saying "no Diddy" as a phrase, but I think I got it wrong, Nick. What's the thing about no Diddy?
So I'll put it into context for you. So if I were to say, Matt, you're looking so great in that jacket today, no Diddy. It basically has replaced no homo.
No, so wait, so like if you're
it basically implies no sexual innuendo there.
Are you saying
no
it's
sexual intent?
The jacket's I see.
Yeah.
So like if I'm like, Paul, I love what you're doing today with your hair, no Diddy.
You're like, hey, I'm not gay, but you look fucking beautiful today, Matt. I'd like to fuck you. So that would be.
If I came across your profile,
no Diddy.
If I saw you on a dating app, I would swipe right, no Diddy.
Yeah, right.
But you know what I want to use? I want to use it as in out of context. I think it's more fun. Which is like, listen, I think Michael Jordan's the GOAT, no Diddy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay, I like Nick's version.
Okay, speaking of no Diddy, Bill Belichick's 73 years old, and he's dating 24-year-old Jordan Hudson. We never thought we'd talk about this on the pod. We've thrown the picture up a few times. But, like, the drama's here. Jordan Hudson, his 24-year-old muse, his self-proclaimed PR rep, and she's the self-proclaimed COO of Belichick Productions, which doesn't exist. There was the disastrous CBS Morning interview show that made Bill look like a henpecked or henpegged man. Okay.
Henpecked.
Yeah.
Pegged? He could be pegged. Somebody who's being pegged.
He went completely off the rails.
It's possible that he discovered pegging at 74, and that's why he's like realized he's really into it, and that could explain the entire thing.
You're right in my wheelhouse of where I want to go with this.
Okay, good.
Hudson demanded to be named an executive producer on the Hard Knocks UNC football show. That never happened, probably because of her. There were reports that she was banned from UNC football facilities, and then UNC came out and said, no, that's not true, but she's not an employee. Bill's friends and family are concerned about her tarnishing his image. He's coming out with a book, Paul, called The Art of Winning. I don't know. Is he winning? I mean, do you think he coaches a game for UNC? He could quit and take all the money, or UNC could buy him out for $10 million. But, I mean, is this just what comes with dating a 23-year-old?
I think she's 24.
24-year-old?
In my research. Winning, I mean, remember Charlie Sheen was all about winning, and then, he, of course, got HIV.
I don't know, man. I was banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them because that's how I roll. I have one speed. I have one gear. Go.
I'm concerned because I'm more worried about her, right? And by the way, she came out. I guess he doesn't have saggy balls or something. She did some interview or something where she was talking. Oh, no, that was the Hugh Hefner, Holly Madison thing. That also came out.
I love how you did that. It felt real natural. We don't have to do another take. That was great.
Anyway, but so last year she ran for Miss Maine, Judy Pageant. She finished second.
This year she ran again, right?
She finished third.
Holy shit.
She's trending in the wrong direction, Bill.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go after the second place one. That's what I think is going to happen. That fixes everything.
Do you think he coaches a game at North Carolina?
Absolutely. He's loving this. Are you kidding me?
Do you think he stays with her?
I think he goes with Miss Maine runner-up. He didn't want third place.
But do you imagine if he married her and they did the whole thing on E? I'd watch that show all day.
It's great, along with the Pope reality show.
Quickly, folks, before we get into the best things we saw, San Francisco 49ers. Last time we talked, OTAs have started. The draft picks look good. Kittle signs. Purdy deal looks close.
What does OTA stand for, Matt?
Off-season workouts. But I don't know what the T stands for. Training.
Optional training?
Optional training. All the trolls right now are just coming for us. You fucking guys don't know sports.
We're cutting that.
Yeah.
Nick?
I don't think it's called Optional Training Association.
Organized team activities.
God bless America.
Older trainee.
Organized team activities. The 49ers today hosted wide receiver Gabe Davis, who recently got released from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That would be great.
Yeah.
He was fantastic with the Bills.
He's
not going to sign with them.
You don't think he's going to sign with us?
They got to pay him something. I know he got. I don't know if he fits that well into our offense. I heard he's going to go to Seattle and play with Darnold.
I love it when you have insider shit. Kittle signs. Purdy deal looks close.
Yeah, I think it's looking good. They're going to sign. I mean, they'll get it done. Every time I read about the fact that they didn't sign an offensive lineman, but they were targeting one, but one didn't fall to them.
Yeah.
It's like, no, then go get one. Trade up if you have to.
I think we did great in this draft.
I know we should have got an offensive lineman though. We're literally in the scrap heap. We're like Home Depot right now, trying to find guys.
We're at Lowe's.
Yeah, we're at Lowe's trying to find like the biggest fucking like the refrigerator mover.
We're like at Lowe's, me and you, like walking down the aisle, going up to the person in the blue vest, going, "Hey, do you know where the offensive linemen are?"
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the 300-pound guy who works here?
Speaking of Robert Saleh, our new defensive coordinator again, he wears a bracelet that says "All gas, no brakes." I just wanted to say that. All gas, no brakes, baby. And that's how Nick rides his bicycle, cut to the clip. New special teams coach Brant Boyer said at a press conference, and this is a self-help corner, "At the end of the day, this is a violent game played by men, and special teams is a one-on-one matchup. It's either you or him, and when it comes down to it, that's my whole mindset. It's either you or me, and it's got to be you." That's how we should approach the pod.
We should.
You know what I'm saying?
You should approach your dating apps.
The dating apps. Speaking of dating apps, no, we won't get into it.
We won't get into it. Nick's going to have to call the herd before this airs.
Before we finish this thing up, folks, and thank you for listening and being here with us because it's our most favorite thing. Do you have a pet peeve before we get into best things? I don't have one this week. I've been living pretty okay.
You know, Matt, I said I was going to try to be positive. I'm going to be positive. I just had this great trip in Japan and Korea. I'm sitting here having a great time with my friends.
Yeah, pet pleasures, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to be all ohm, baby. We'll play some of that background music that
ohm the ohms.
Yeah.
Let's hit that gong. Monks, baby.
I would talk about pet peeves being air traffic control problems in Newark, but I don't want to jinx myself into a bad situation when I fly there next week.
Maybe this will change your mind about being so centered. But best things we saw, today is one of those rare occasions where Paul and I are going to talk about the same show. I'm so excited. A couple weeks ago, I told you, Paul, there's a new show on Apple called Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm, Olivia Munn, and Amanda Peet. And it's rich people behaving badly. It's right up your wheelhouse. And I thought it was delicious. Now I think it's got 6 episodes are out now. Paul, I'm digging it. I think it is what it is. People aren't straying from their lanes. They know who they are. Hamm's playing like a new realized version of the Mad Men character in modern day. It's so much fun. It's not going to win an Emmy, but I think it's a lot of fun. Paul, I'm really curious. What do you think of this show?
That's my pet peeve, Matt.
Damn it. Just love it. Just love it. We don't have to dig in too deep.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Kristen turns to me. My love life. Kristen turns to me every episode. There's at least one trigger per episode where it's like you're having a nervous breakdown, right? You're having an anxiety attack because the entire time, like, this is the fucking show I should have written. This is the show I should have pitched. How have I spent my entire fucking adult career in Hollywood and didn't figure out this show existed in my brain? Yeah. He's a fucking Princeton tennis player. Yeah. He literally said a line in an episode that is a line that I say probably once a week at my tennis club, Matt. Hey, you played tennis at Princeton? And I was like, that was a lifetime ago. By the way, John Hamm, I could kick his ass in tennis. That's the one thing I have over him. He was not a Princeton tennis player. His daughter will not be playing at Princeton. Yeah. He's like Zendaya's coach from fucking Challengers or the special effects or whatever.
But this is what I got to ask you. Because one of my favorite things now is knowing that when I'm watching a new episode of Your Friends and Neighbors, somewhere Paul is losing his shit over a scene in it. All that aside, that you should have written this show in a sliding door universe, do you enjoy the show?
So remember the band is playing, the son is in a band and he eats mushrooms, and no spoiler here, and they're playing a cover of a song that no 17-year-old kid's ever heard in the history of the world. It's Matthew Sweet's Sick of Myself. For a decade, I would walk into the St. Nick's pub, and the very fucking first song I would put on, this was during my self-loathing period, Matt, when my rap was, I'm a loser, you're a loser, let's fuck. That was my rap, apparently, according to my friends. My self-loathing, but that was my favorite song. This Jonathan Tropper guy has inhabited my body and taken my career.
So you can't get past out of that way to enjoy it?
I can't, actually. I'm just going on a rant. I'm actually enjoying it. I love it. I really like the show.
Fun. I'd like to see more shows like this.
I do too, but it's interesting, Matt, because this rich people behaving badly thing, which we like, Succession, right? There are other versions of it. White Lotus. I feel like this, yes, there was Desperate Housewives back in the day and that kind of stuff, and Dynasty. Yeah. But I do wonder in a streaming world, like, how big an audience could really, because this is not Breaking Bad. Like, it's got the same template as Ozark and Breaking Bad, right? A guy loses it and starts doing illegal shit, right? But in Breaking Bad, he was a math teacher with cancer. Like, you're going to root for that guy, right? I think John Hamm is a fucking hedge fund douchebag and went to Princeton.
You know what it is? And you bring up a great point. I think John Hamm, inherently, his charisma as the person.
He's great in this, by the way. Best he's ever been.
So John Hamm's charisma, I think people are just rooting for him. Like, people just like John Hamm. And I think people like, rich people. There's that Robin Hood thing to the show. I think people just like... I don't think people want to be bogged down with a lot of social issues.
But all these rich people with this terrible existential angst, doesn't that piss people off?
I don't think in this show, just because he's robbing the rich, even though he's rich, I think it makes it a lot of fun. I love Amanda Peet. She hasn't lost her fastball.
No,
I love
she's
Olivia
great.
Munn in this.
You know who she's married to?
Yeah, she's married to
David Benioff from Game of Thrones. She doesn't need the money.
But I think this show's just a lot of fun, and it's delicious. And if you don't try to overthink it, I think this is perfect. And also, Apple TV, they already gave it a second season.
No, they should. I'm sure. Look, it's the number one show on Apple TV right now. Everyone's talking about it. At my tennis club, literally, I was there on Friday. It's the only show anybody can talk about. They found their target audience.
God, you know what? The Beat LA podcast was on it before they knew. Even before you watched it, we knew.
I know.
We knew.
You knew.
I love, by the way, The Maid. She's right in my wheelhouse. She is.
I just saw the episode last night where they had a little Coke party last night in the episode.
Well, not about. I don't even care about cocaine anymore.
We just want people to drink.
Anyway, folks, if you're looking for something tonight, just fire up your friends and neighbors. You won't be disappointed.
I agree. I'm giving it shit, but it's a fun show.
How are the kids? Oh, they're fine. Wife, ex-wife.
Well, I got to deliver some bad news. You're fired.
What?
Folks, thank you for listening to Beat LA Podcast. My name is Matt Ferrucci. That's Paul Rule. Before we get out of here, we want to thank Nick Conrad for producing us today. Thank you,
Always
Nick.
a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, beautiful.
Telling us about his social life.
Yeah, you can actually meet Nick more than us. He's the one out in the streets these days.
I want to do a shout out, and I feel awful. He's probably going to listen to it, and I'm blanking on his name. But there was this really cool South Korean guy who just got out of the South Korean military. I did not have a ticket to the KBO game. Don't get him fired. But I was hanging outside doing like a reel kind of thing. I'm like, hey, I'm outside. I can't get in because the game was sold out. This guy took pity on me, and he let me in at the end of the game. He was a super nice guy.
What's his name?
Fuck. Something Korean.
His name's fuck.
No, he follows us on Instagram. He's like a fucking Beat LA guy. He's taking Beat LA to... This trip... We have a huge audience now in South Korea.
Right.
The Deuce on Bears. Do you think I gave you the Deuce on Bears hat because it's got Deuce in it?
Yep, I do. I do.
Anyway, the Angels are everywhere, man. This guy, I'll get his name for the next episode, but he was a good guy. He treated me well.
I love it, Paul. I love Paul. Paul making dreams happen across the world. That's Beat LA, folks. We'll see you next week. Beat LA. Beat LA. Beat LA.